I'll discuss about basic idea about potentiometer. Okay, yesterday there are some pending portions from energy meter. So after discussing about the potentiometer, again I'll go back to that energy meter pending portions. Okay, some very 1 2 slides are pending. Okay, so first, before starting the potentiometer, so what is the motivations for this potentiometer? So we have already gone through different types of measuring instruments. Okay, so all the instruments having its individual activities, like individual activities means uh, we are using measurement of resistance by using bridge circuit, inductance, capacitance. Okay, then discussing about instrument transformer, then measurement of power, energy. Now, what is potentiometer? Potentiometer means I think you all are of who have means aware about that AC AC variable source. Okay, means in case of AC, what happens? Sometimes we are using some auto transformer. Okay, so auto transformer we are using, so we are getting some input. Okay, we're giving some input to the auto transformer, then output of the auto transformer is now varying. We are varying the output of the auto transformer, so we'll get that variable output. So potentiometer is like just like a, you can say like that it's an DC variable source. It having different types of uses. Okay, it may be used for the special using for the calibration purpose. Okay, so you're having some, just for taking example, suppose you are having some unknown EMF source. Okay, source of EMF. Okay, but you don't know the exact value of that EMF. Okay, so how to measure the value? Okay. So how to measure the value? Okay, so that we can do it by using that potentiometer. Like you have some standard, you are some having some standard source of EMF. Okay, first we are getting the value. Okay, so how much values are there? We are just measuring it. By now, what we are doing, we in potentiometer having some sliding wire. Okay, so there is a huge wire. Now we are able to slide that value. Means length of the, if you consider two fixed point, okay, and two fixed point, one variable point, just like your rheostat. Okay, just like your rheostat having two fixed point, okay, and one slider is there in between two fixed points, so you can able to change the positions of the slider. You try to realize the problem. Okay, so you have some means one resistance in your hand. Okay, so that resistance having two fixed point, one okay, means that variable terminal is fixed up in your two fixed terminal. Okay, so now you can change the slider positions. Okay, based on your slide changing of your slider position, that it may be work. Okay, just you can say like that voltage divider circuit. Okay, voltage divider circuit, what happened? So you have some voltage source and you are adding some resistance across the voltage source, and that resistance you can do tapping in between any of the points of the resistance. Okay, you are tapping from there and you are able to measure that how much value is there. Okay, so you know that if the inter resistance is R, you are tapping, you are making one tapping between R, means R such a manner that your R equals to capital R equals to R1 plus R2. Okay, so now you are able to find out the potential across your R2. So what will be the value if you are giving V potential? So it is coming that that potential across your R1, it is coming V1, potential across of your R2. Okay, so it is coming V2. Now you are using the voltage dividing rule. Okay, like V1 equal to how much value? R1 whole divided by R1 plus R2 into V. Okay, V is your total voltage. So this division, this is called the voltage divider circuit. So potentiometer also working in this manner. Okay, so we're having some circuit, so we can show you. So first we need to know what is the purpose of the potentiometer. Okay, so purpose of the potentiometer is to use for measurement of potential difference across a known resistance between two terminals of the circuit or the network or the characteristics. So From the name of that potential difference, you are able to, that potentiometer term is coming. But it's not like that you are only able to measure that only potential difference. Okay, you can make, you can use it. It's a variable resistance. Okay, it's a variable resistance. That resistance having three legs, two fixed legs, one variable leg. Okay, so by that way you can measure any of the thing. You can measure the, you can calibrate. Basically we are using it for the calibration purpose. Calibrate voltage, current. Okay, so means voltmeter, ammeter, basically, then resistance. Okay, so this type of thing you can do it by using this potentiometer. Okay, so potentiometer is also used for comparing EMF of two cells. Means you have some unknown source of EMF. Another cases you have some known source, means standard EMF. Okay, so you are able to measure it. So what is the motivation of this chapter? So okay, so we by using that potentiometer, you can easily solve, okay, very simple type of problem for measurement of unknown EMF. Okay, basically we are using for measurement of unknown EMF, but it's not like that. We are only able to measure the EMF. That other factors you can also find out, but you have to use some derived method. Okay, so that methodology you are using, that is derived one. Very simple. Okay, since the potentiometer measures the voltage by comparing with the standard cell, it can also measure the current simply by measuring the voltage drop produced by the unknown current passing through the known standard resistance. That what am I telling to you? Just I am telling that you can calibrate the ammeter also. Okay, so that I am telling that potentiometer is just not like your only potential measurement. So that is your primary one. Okay, so if you are able to get the potential value and whatever resistance you are using, standard resistance. Okay, so calibrations is happened by the potentiometer. So you are using standard resistance. So automatically you will get the value voltage by resistance. Automatically you are getting the current. Okay. Now you can calibrate that current value with your actual measured current value. Okay. Is the both of the currents are same? Okay. Is same thing is coming or different things are there? Okay. That you can easily measure over there. Okay. By the potentiometer. Okay. By the potentiometer, power can also be calculated. Okay, power can also be calculated. If the time also measured, the energy can also be determined by simply multiplying the power and the time of the measurement. Okay, so power, you are getting the value of voltage. Okay, by using potentiometer easily get the value of voltage. Okay, then current, I am telling how to get the value of current. So power automatically you can measure it. Okay, if you are able to measure the power, so if the entire, you know that energy is integrating factor with the power, so automatically you can also get the values of energy. Okay, the potentiometer is one of the most fundamental instruments of the electrical measurements. Okay, so you can use it. That's why I'm telling the resistance. It's nothing but a resistance. Okay, variable resistance. In electronic circuit, all of you know aware about that pot. Okay, just like I can tell one thing. If you see the FM, now I don't know that how much of you are familiar with that FM radio. Okay, so one variable terminal is there. Now we are just changing the frequency over there. It's a carrier frequency you're sending from our FM. You leave it, but what happened? There is a knob that we are just rotating that valve means changing the frequency range. Okay, some knob is there. Okay, if you see it in your home or radio. Okay, so we are changing one thing. So that's the variable terminal of the potentiometer. Okay, so inside of that one potentiometer is there, pot, but that pot having different rating. Okay, that I'm telling about the power rating, current rating. Okay, we have quarter watt pot in our electronics lab, as well as some watt means if you increase that value, okay, it may be some kilowatt range also. Okay, so it will be bigger in size. Okay, quarter means wattage rating is less, means it is smaller in size, or wattage rating is big means higher means it is bigger in size. Okay, I hope all of you able to realize my point. Okay, so some important characteristics. What are the some important characteristics of the potentiometer? So number one is that potentiometer measure unknown voltage. So normally we are using for standardizations of the unknown voltage source. Okay, by comparing a known voltage source, means standard voltage source is there. Okay, rather than by using the actual deflections of the pointer. Okay, so we can see that how much deflections are there pointer. If it is 0, so we can say like that, okay, this is the actual values of resistance, sorry, potential difference. Okay, hence with the high degree of accuracy. Okay, as is it's a comparative device, so if there is a null pointer, means if it is 0 indicating instrument, so automatically their accuracy will be high. Okay, as a potentiometer measure the using null or balance conditions. Okay, that I'm telling that null or balance conditions, hence no power is required for that measurement. Determine the voltage using the potentiometer is quite independent of the source resistance. Okay, that is independent. Voltage is independent. Okay. Now here I am just taking one example, so all of you easily understand that how it will work, how the potentiometer is work. Okay, so here you can see the basic DC potentiometer. Here we can see the diagram of the first and the basic DC potentiometer. Okay, we are just discussing about the observance, discussing about the working principle. Okay, so how would I get it? Okay, first what we are doing, so we have some standard source of energy, that is battery we are considering. One rheostat is there. What is the purpose of the rheostat? By changing that rheostat value, okay, by changing the rheostat variable terminal, so we can controlling the current. Okay, the still it is in series. Okay, still it is in series. So if the values, if the resistance values is more, so potential drop will be more. Okay, so the voltage will be coming less. Okay, so by that we are sometimes we are controlling some of the parameters sometimes. Okay, so that is called rheostat. That rheostat is there. So working current is there. Okay, working current is there. So here you can see one that bold color line is there. That is your potentiometer. Okay, potentiometer having two fixed end. So that is one end, another end is there. So it having some scale. Potentiometer having always having some scale. So here we can see that line, that bold color line, that is called slide wire. Okay, that is called slide wire. Slide wire. Another one is there. You can see that is called jockey. Jockey, or you can say like that, it is sliding contact. Means if you that C terminals, there are two terminals, 0 is there and 200 is there. Two fixed terminal. Okay, you are fixing up that value. Okay, if you changing that jockey, or if you changing that sliding contact C, okay, you will get the value of EMF E1, sorry, E2. Okay, how much ranging is there? There is some ranging. This is 200 centimeter range you are considering. I'm just taking some very basic example. 200 centimeter range is there. Okay, it may be you can make it 100 centimeter. You can make it 1000 centimeter as per your specification of system. Okay, so here you can see that there is some scale. Okay, so you can easily find out the value of E2. Okay, what is the value of E2? You are easily find out. So your idea is that you have to find out that unknown EMF. Okay, you have to find out your unknown EMF. Okay, how do you find out? Okay, that is your idea. Okay, so first what you will do, so first you are having some potentiometer having some source, DC source I have already told you. Okay, so you are getting the value of E2. Okay, now you are connecting the key. Okay, now you are connecting the key. What you will do? So after connecting the key, so then that E2 and E1 should be same now. Okay, if you're connecting the key K. Okay, if it is not there, so you will get the any of the value of E2. Okay, that whatever value is there, you will get it. Okay, now what you will do? Now you are connecting the K value over here. Okay, now you're connecting the K value over here, and so and what you will do? Make that switch, that calibrate switch is connecting over there. Okay, now what happened? You will get the value of some of the value of galvanometer. Okay, some of the value of galvanometer you will get it from here. Okay, or what you will do? You can also do another thing, that you are getting the value of galvanometer G. Okay, so you have some unknown EMF. Okay, now what you are doing, that you are changing that S to now the standard cell. Okay, so if you changing that S to standard cell, definitely the galvanometer also deflecting some value. Okay, that also deflecting some value. Okay, so if you change it to the standard cell, now you know the value of standard cell. Okay, now you are able to easily find out the value of standard cell. Okay, so after getting the value of standard cell, the galvanometer deflection you are also getting. Okay, now what you will do? Now you are having that value of E1 first case. When it is there, you are having the value of E1, E2. Okay, now galvanometer is deflecting. Okay, you are just first condition, you are just pointing out when you are connecting the unknown EMF. Okay, S that was unknown EMF, that you are just pointing out the galvanometer value. Okay, I hope you are able to understand. Now you are connecting, changing the switch from operated condition to calibrated standard cell. Okay, the standard cell is there. So again galvanometer is deflecting. Okay, so what is your present condition, that you need to know. Okay, now what you are doing, now you are changing that value. Okay, now you are changing that slider, the sliding contact is there, now you are changing. Okay, you have to see that if you are changing towards that 100, as well as two conditions are there, you can change this towards the 100, also you can change it towards that 150. Okay, if you see your slider, or you say like the jockey of the slider, you are changing from towards the 100, so your galvanometer deflection is more than your first condition. Means when that pointer is connected to the unknown EMF, if it is more, so your changing should be in reverse direction. Means that jockey movement should be up to throughout your 150. Okay, so you are gradually changing that value. Okay, you are gradually changing that value. Okay, you can see after some reason, after some time, you have that value, that your galvanometer pointer is gradually coming to which value? Gradually coming to your initial condition when you connected at that unknown EMF value. Okay, same value will come. Okay, so after that you are able to easily measure the value of E2. Okay, simple. You know all the values. You know the rheostat value, you know the battery value. Okay, so you are using the voltage divider rule. You know the sliding wire resistance, and now which meter it is there, which centimeter it is there. So proportionally you will get the resistance value. So you are easily find out the value of E2. Okay, so now you know that E2 and E1 both are in parallel, and E1 and unknown EMF also are in parallel. So you easily find out the value of E2, and by using that value of E2, you are also getting the value of E1. Okay, and that E1 should be equal value of your unknown EMF. So I hope you are able to understand how to measure the unknown EMF by using the standard cell. Okay, so standard cell means you know the value of that cell, means calibrated. So by this you can calibrate the EMF of that unknown source. I hope all of you are able to understand. Is there any confusion? Is there any confusion from any of your students end?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. If you have any confusion, you can ask me. Okay. So what we can, I hope all of you are able to understand how it will work. Okay. Now another important issue is that if you see the structure of that basic potentiometer, so you can observe that 0 to 200 centimeter you are using long slide wire. Okay. So what happened? It will take unnecessary lot of space. Okay, means lot of space. Why I am telling about unnecessary? Okay, if you are using linear scale. Okay, so that's why you can say like that there is an unnecessary space. If you make them round in shape, then what happened? End of the day, there will be no changing of the resistance. Okay, current can go up to linear path, it can go up to some curly path. Okay, it can go up to some cylindrical path. Okay, no problem. Basically resistance is not changing if other parameters are fixed. Okay, in cross sectional area, number of means cross sectional area is main thing, physical properties of the material, other parameters means the temperature, pressures, if all are same, materials are same, so resistance, there will be no changing of the resistance. So what happened, that Compton will modify that potentiometer, okay, in different manner, means their arrangement, the working principle is same, only arrangement is different. So they are using some circular scale. Here you can see some circular scale are there. Okay, that jockey you are using, that here, that is linear movement was there. So here you can see rotational movement. Okay, that pointer is it is rotating. Okay, it is rotational movement. Okay, automatically it will work. Okay, it is your dial switch. It is called dial switch. Okay, rest of the thing is same. And here you can see additional thing, circular sliding wire. Okay, so circular sliding wire means, that means dial switch. What is the purpose of the dial switch? That sometimes we are using that multiplier. Okay, you know that from our very beginning we are using some multiplier, means additional shunt resistance, series resistance. We are telling like that. Okay, measurement of voltage, so more resistance is there. So in series, that's the concept. Okay, so series you are adding some more resistance. Okay, so that you can say like that it is dial switch. So whatever you are multiplying, you see resistance are required, based on that you are selecting the value. Okay, how much range is required. Okay, so you can select the gain of the system. Okay, after getting the gain, you can easily calculate. Okay, you can easily calculate the other parameters. Okay, other parameters means range will be more, also space will be less. Okay, and slide will also be there, the length, based on the length of the slide wire you can calibrate the value. Okay, so working current is flowing through that path. So galvanometer is there, standing cells are there. So sorry, standardized cells are there, and you can see two terminals like that. Similarly, one is calibrate terminal, another is operate terminal. So both of the things are there, and unknown EMF you can connect over there. Here unknown EMF terminals. Okay, both the things are more or less same. Okay, again the same key is there. Here you can see the same key, and the galvanometer also be there. Okay, if you change the switch, so on you can go for, there are two switch. First one is, sorry, two cell, that is standard cell. Another one is unknown EMF cell. Okay, so there is a switch S. So first you can make it unknown, then fix up the value of galvanometer. Okay, then sorry, first go for the standardized. So you can fix up the, no, I am telling the wrong thing. So first you can make it to unknown cell. You can fix up the galvanometer. Okay, so how much value was there? Okay, so then standardized cell is there. Okay, so from the standardized cell, no, first make it standardized cell. You can get the galvanometer deflection. Now go to the unknown EMF. Okay, now deflection will be different. Now you can change the slide wire resistance over there. Okay, that circular resistance are there. Okay, length is there, based on the length, or you can also change the multiplier. If you are reaching that value 0.1, still you are not getting the galvanometer deflections for with your unknown cell. Okay, so how much deflection was there? Okay, so in that case you have to change the dial switch, like your fan regulator. That fan regulator we are using in our home, that also an example of a potentiometer. Okay, so there is a variable resistance terminal. If we are changing that regulator, so automatically that it's like a dial switch. Okay, the resistance values are changing. Okay, so changing of that value, and you can see the how much deflection is there. So based on it, you can getting that unknown EMF value. Okay, so first you have to make it standard cell value. Okay, when it is in standard cell point, so how much deflection is there you have to calculate first, then switch it to unknown EMF. Okay, then first you have to change the circular slide wire. Okay, if the deflection is reaching by the circular slide wire, no problem. If the deflection are not reaching by circular cell wire, so you have to change the dial switch. Okay, just like a gain is there. Okay, I hope you are able to understand. Okay, so these are the basics of the potentiometer. Okay, so after that some very basic numerical problems are there. Okay, so you just noting down the first numerical problem. What is this? It is written a basic slide wire potentiometer. Yeah, what happened? So it is written a basic slide wire potentiometer. Okay, has a working battery voltage. It is given that has an working battery voltage 3 volts. Okay, all of you please noting down. Okay, so it is given that battery voltage 3 volt and the negligible resistance. Okay, internal resistance is very less. the resistance of the slide wire is 400 ohm. Okay, and its length is 200 centimeter. Okay, slide wire resistance is given 200 ohm and length is 200 centimeter. For 1 centimeter, you are considering the 2 ohm, just like that. So 200 centimeter scale is placed along the slide wire. Okay, the slide wire has 1 millimeter scale divisions, and it is possible to read up to 1/5 of the division. Means you can be discussing about the resolutions. Okay, so how much resolution, so sensitivity. Okay, so the instrument is standardized with a 1.018 volt standard cell with sliding contact at 1.8 centimeter mark on scale. Okay, this is your basic consideration that given from the question. Okay, so what you need to calculate: working current you have to find out, resistance of the series rheostat, measurement range, and resolutions of the instrument. Okay, that you have to calculate. So I am taking that example. Okay, so first condition, that working current you need to find out. So what is given? The standardized EMF is given 1.018 volt. Slide wire contact means how much range will be there? 101.8. Okay, slide wire contact it is given. That length is obvious, 108 represents that 1.08 volt. Okay, that's centimeter. Okay, so it is 200 centimeter. That about telling, it is mentioning that 100 volt standard cell with the slide contact is 101.8 centimeters. So it is given that voltage is given that we are getting the sliding wire range at 101.8 centimeter. You are getting 1.018 volt. Okay, that is given. Okay, so resistance you need to calculate for 101.8 centimeters. As simple as it. Okay, 400. You know that 400 ohm. This is 200 centimeter. Okay. So 200 centimeter means 400 ohm. So 1 centimeter means how much? 400 by 200 means 2 ohm. Okay. So then 1.101.8 centimeter means multiplied with the 2. I think so. So this is that 1.018 into 400 by 2. Mean 2 into 1.018 equal to 203.6. As very simple problem. Okay. So we'll getting the resistance. That how much potential is there. Okay, so potential is given that that current it is given that 100 and that current you are getting that 101.8. Okay, 101.8 whole divided by that is in resistance. Okay, that resistance is there. Okay, directly you are getting 0.005. Okay, so you are getting directly 5 milliampere. Okay, so you are getting the value. Okay. So then resistance of the series rheostat, that you need to calculate. Okay, so total battery circuit resistance of the battery circuit is given the resistance of the rheostat plus resistance of the slide wire. So what is your RH? Resistance of the rheostat equal to total resistance of the battery circuit means entire circuit. Okay, so total resistance minus resistance of the slide wire. So total resistance, how do you get that value? So that voltage is given that 3 volt. Battery voltage is given 3 volt. 3 volt divided by how much value resistance you are getting. So current V by I equal to you are getting the R. So I means you are getting that 0.005. So V by I it is there 3 by 0.005 minus 400. 400 is your resistance of the slider. So it is coming 200. Okay, so what is the resistance of the rheostat? That is 200 ohm. Then measurement range. Okay, so 400 ohm is maximum. Okay, and you can get the current is FSD, that you are getting that FSD. Okay, so 0.005. So how much range is there? Multiplying both of them, you will get the range 2 volts. So total voltage across the slider you are able to find out. Okay, so resolutions of that one. So resolutions means how much value they have mentioned. 1/5 of the deviations. Okay, so 200 means length, it is given 200 centimeter, represent 2 volt. Okay, and 1 mm represent voltage. 1 mm means they are mentioning that slide wire has the scale 1 mm deviations. Okay, 1 mm deviation. So 200 means 2 volt whole divided by total length 200. Okay, into 1 mm also there means 1/10 of that total mm means relation between centimeter and millimeter 1/10. So up to 1 mm your deviation means single deviation is 1 mm. Okay, so 1 into 1 by 10. So how much values are there? So it is coming 1 millivolt. Okay, so 1 millivolt is there. So it's possible to read 1/5 of the 1 millivolt. So 1/5 it is given the read up to 1/5 of the division. Okay, so 1/5 into your 1 volt. So how much value it is coming? 0.2 millivolt. Your resolution is up to 2 millivolt, 0.2 millivolt. I hope all of you are able to understand. Simple numerical problem. Okay, nothing complicated based on your basic idea. So another numerical problem is there. Okay, that you can solve it to your host to your ROM. Okay, all of you please noting down that question. A single range laboratory. Okay, a single range laboratory type potentiometer has an 18-step dial. Okay, has an 18-step dial switch where each steps represent that 0.1 volt. Okay, each step is there 0.1 volt. The dial rheostats. Okay, the dial registers are 10 ohm each. That is given. Rheostats are 10 ohm each. The slide wire potentiometer is circular and has 11 turns and the resistance of 1 ohm per turns. Okay, that is given. The slide wire has 100 divisions and that interpolations can done by the 1/4 of a divisions. Okay, so 100 division is there. So 1/4 of the division you can getting the value. The working battery has that voltage is 6 volt. Okay, now calculate the measuring range of the potentiometer. Okay, that measurement range, then the resolutions, working current, setting of the rheostat. Okay, just like your previous numerical problem, some not exactly same. Some of the portion is different, but you're starting from the same type of work. Okay, I hope you are able to try to solve it to your home. If you are not getting the value, you can ask me. So again, I will solve it to my class. Okay. So what are the applications of the basic potentiometer? Okay, that I am telling. So potentiometer is coming from measurement of the potential difference, means voltage. But you can implement that one for the different purpose. Okay, so different purpose means different applications. Okay, so we can measurement is for measuring of the current. Okay, so practical uses of the DC potentiometers where we are using. So measurement of the current, okay, measurement of the high voltage, measurement of the resistance, measurement of the power, voltmeter, means calibrations of the voltmeter. Okay, if you have some standard voltmeter and you are having some unknown, means you are manufacturer. So how do you calibrate it? Just simple. Okay, so you are having standard source of EMF. Okay, now you connect one voltmeter, standard voltmeter, how much value it is showing. Okay, now you can make it that value. Okay, now you are using calibrated one. Okay, calibrated one means first you have some standard EMF source. Okay, now you are adding some voltmeter and how much it is showing. Okay, so by using the potentiometer, now we are doing the calibrations, okay, of the voltmeter. Okay, so you can changing the slide wire. So how much voltage is there? Okay, you can make it fast. Okay, from your standard cell, how much voltage is there? Represent to your slider, you are measuring first. Then you are incorporate some unknown value, unknown voltmeter. Now you try to find out how much value it is showing. Okay, now again you are calibrating the slide wire up to your standard, means how much deviation is there in galvanometer first condition. Now we are making to point out that deviation and try to see that exact deflection is coming to your voltmeter or not. If it is not coming now, voltmeter having one terminal that you can tightening the, means the spring. Okay, spring is there, you can make it tight, sometime loose. Okay, you are changing that value, means spring constant, means analog, that is a spring options, you can change the rotation. After changing the rotation, you are fix up the pointer. So by that way you can say like that. Okay, now by using some standard instrument, we are calibrating our laboratory instruments. By that way your calibrations done for the voltmeter. Same thing also happen, you can use that calibrations of the ammeter as well as wattmeter. Okay, so measurement of the current by using the potentiometer. How we are going to measure the current? So potentiometer is there, standard resistors also be there. Okay, this is your DC supply, rheostat. That is simple. That rheostat DC supply is constant with your potentiometer. Okay, now standard resistance are there. So how do you current? Okay, so current I equal to voltage drop across your R. So that potentiometer shows you the how much voltage drop is there, that you replace right over there, and what is the resistance of the standard resistance that you can put there. So directly you are able to calculate the value of current. Okay, as simple as it, nothing complicated one. Okay, so this is very simple chapter, that potentiometer. So we are discussing about only DC potentiometer. This is also implicable for that AC also, but till now we are focused about only DC portions. Okay, so in that syllabus means exam up to DC potentiometer, you can think about up to DC potentiometer. That is up to our syllabus. So AC potentiometer we are not discussing in my class, so no question will come from that AC potentiometer. Okay, so another simple numerical problem is there. Okay, so a simple slide where potentiometer is used for the measurement of current in the circuit. Okay, the voltage drop across the standard resistor is 1 volt, 0.1 volt, balanced at 75 centimeters. So values are there and it is coming 0.1 balance. Okay, find the magnitude of the current if standard cell EMF is 1.45 volt and balance at 50 centimeter. So directly you are able to measure that value by using that formulas. Okay, so how much current will be there, then you can easily find out the how much voltage is there. Okay, find out magnitude of the current if the standard EMF is 1, balance at 50 centimeter. Okay, so that potentiometer also be implicable for applications of high voltage measurement. Okay, resistance, power measurement, calibration of voltmeter, ammeter, wattmeter, that also can be implemented, means you can also do. But here we are discussing up to these portions. Okay, applications of especially for DC potentiometer. Okay, this portion we are only discussing about. Okay, and two numerical problems are there. You can if you want to solve it to your home, you can also solve it. Okay, if you're facing any difficulties, you can ask me, so again I can re-discuss that portions. Okay, if you have any kind of query, so you can tell me, so otherwise I can go to the next portions, means my pending 1-2 slides are there for yesterday class that I can complete. Okay, so we can move to that next one. Is my slide is visible from your end?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So I hope all of you will to understand the basic operations of the potentiometer. This is very simple, nothing complicated thing. Okay, so yesterday I was discussing about the constructions of that measurements. Constructions about the energy meters. Okay, how it will be look like that. Okay, what are the means errors of the energy meters that I was discussing in my last class. Okay, so how you can means phase angle error. We are discussing about the phase angle error, that we are not getting exactly 90-degree lagging. Okay, of the voltage and the flux. Okay, that's the basic cause for that phase angle error. Okay, now what we are doing, we are changing, we are able to change the current flow about that band. Okay, that there is a adjustable resistance we are introducing over there. So we are changing that how much drop are there. Based on that, we are means adjusting. Okay, we are adjusting the current, the angle between that induced EMF and the flux. Okay, that is our idea. Okay, so what we are doing, that standard coil and adjustable resistance. Okay, next one, that the copper shading band. Okay, instead of coil, directly you are using the band. Okay, so band, if you are providing, so automatically some additional resistance also be there, as well as it can circulating one. So directly you can think about like that motoring operation. So how the circulating currents are developed. Okay, cut-off flux is there. Then due to cut-off flux, some induced EMF is there. Induced EMF is there, means some additional flux will be developed. That may be responsible for generation of the torque as well as delay between two of the flux. If there is no delay in between series flux and the shunt field flux, so what happens? There will be no interactions. Okay, there will be no generations of the torque. Okay, if there is no development of the torque, so your ring will not be rotated. Okay, so that is important issue. Okay, it's okay, there will be no problem, but the other issues are there. Okay, so what are the other issues? That is called that error due to frictions at light loads. Okay, that kinds of problems are there. That is very important. Okay, so here you can see that's why you are introducing friction compensation vane. Okay, additional vanes you are using for friction compensation, means if that is lightly loaded, if your system is lightly loaded, then what will be the problem? Lightly loaded means current strength is very less. Okay, if the current strength is less, you know that torque, the deflection torque or the rotating torque of what? The rotating torque of that aluminum disc. Okay, you can see it's a function. Okay, it's in the torque is developed multiplication of your flux and the current. Okay, difference between the multiplications of two torque, two flux and the two current. So there is a multiplication, one flux and current, series flux, shunt current, shunt current, series flux. Sorry, series flux, shunt field current, then shunt field flux, series field current. Okay, there is the interaction. So you can understand there is a current, function of a current. Okay, if it is lightly loaded, then what happens? The current strength will be less. If the current strength is less, then by default the strength of the magnetic field also been less. Okay, if that strength is also less, then what will be the problem? Problem is that the rotational for the rotations of the disc, how much torque is required to rotations of the disc, that torque will not be developed. Okay, so that less amount of current and flux are not capable enough. Okay, are not capable enough to drive or to produce the rotational torque of that disc. That's the problem for that light load conditions. So what you need to do? So that's why you are doing. So here you can see a lot of free space are there inside of that energy meter, or you can see inside of this power meter. Okay, so it's an active power. We're measuring about the active power. So what happened? The problem is the lot of free space are there. So for that means free space in technical points, what you are telling, that is a air gap, the length of air gap, or air gaps are more in this case. A lot of air gaps are there. So due to the presence of more air gaps, the problem is that there is a huge chances for the leakage. Okay, so what you will do? You are using that you have to minimize the leakage. That you are telling that current strength is less, as well as if the leakage is more, then the problem is that you are not getting that sufficient flux to rotate the disc or sufficient current to rotate the disc. That's why you have to make the flux in more concentrated. That's why you are using friction compensation vane. Okay, that is responsible for concentrating your flux or minimizing the leakage flux. Okay, so it can enhance that effective area. Okay, it can enhance the effective area of that magnetic area. Okay, so most of the flux are passing through this vane, and it is try to help you to focus all the flux to that disk. Okay. What is there? Okay, friction of the bearings. Okay, frictions is bearing can pose serious error. Okay. In the measurement of energy is the form of that it impede the proper movement of the rotating disk. So it can provide you the friction for rotating of the disk. This problem is particularly objectionable at low load. Okay, objectionable at the low load when the driving torque itself very low. Okay, therefore that unwanted friction torque can even stop the disk from the rotating. So what kinds of friction will be there? Air friction. Okay, also you are using some bearing. Okay, shafts are there, mechanical means the joinings are there. Still that area is very less pointing, that this is pointed tip. Okay, still some of the frictions are there that can opposing your disk movement. Okay, counter effect. So that may cause for rotation, stopping of your disc. That's why you are avoiding that one. To avoid this, it is necessary to provide an additional torque. Okay, that is essentially independent of the load. Okay, definitely it is independent of the load. So that vanes are there. So to be applied in the direction of the driving torque, that means the opposes the frictional torque, compensate the frictional retarding of the torque. So this is coming from where? So fluxes, additional fluxes is coming from your inherent system, not external fields. Okay, so leakage, you are getting that it from the leakage. Okay, that concentrating the flux and passing through your disk. Okay, so that compensates the friction. That's why it is called error due to friction load and how to compensate it. So now another thing is that called the creeping error. Okay, some meters at slow but continuous rotations of the disk can be observed even there is no current flowing through that current coil. Only the pressure coil is energized. This is called the creeping. Okay, so there is no potential in the current coil, but it is rotating means some of the flux is there. So from where you are getting the flux? The pressure coil having that flux. Okay, so that is called the creeping error. Okay, sometimes it also happen that there is a magnetic. Sometimes we are telling about that pressure coil is connected across. Okay, connected across your supply. Okay, so somehow supply is charged. Okay, or somehow any potential is appeared from the supply to your coil. Okay, pressure coil is connected parallel. Okay, basically parallel to the load. Okay, so directly it is coming. So somehow the pressure coil is getting somehow energized. Then what happened? Due to magnetic field, that creeping problem will be there. So how do you remove that creeping problem? So that's why you are adding some brake magnet. Yesterday I told you that discussing about the braking magnet. Okay, so braking magnet is capable. Okay, it fixes up the threshold value. Okay, up to how much current? Okay, up to how much current and flux, means in single word, up to how much threshold torque your disk rotation will start. It will fix it by the braking magnet. Okay, if the threshold value, if the torque is beyond the threshold value, there will be no problem. Automatically it will be rotating. If it is not the up to the mark of that threshold value, so it will not rotate. Okay, that you have to fix. That's why it is called the calibration. So you have to calibrate with your system from the standardized material or the standardized meter. Okay, that's why it is required. Okay, I hope you are able to understand. So error due to climate change of temperature. Okay, that may be also happen. Aging effect or another thing is there. Okay, error due to overload. Okay, error due to overload means what happened? Sometimes huge loadings are there and your braking magnet still is okay, but what happens? Suddenly excessive current is coming. Okay, then what happened? The disk rotation will be very fast. Okay, so if the disk rotation will be very fast, so you have to check it that is it capable for getting that high rotations or not. Okay, so definitely there is some rating. So maximum this amount of current it can be capable to provide the disk. What happens? Suddenly more current is coming means what happened? Your current coil is connected series with your system. Okay, if current is more, so what happens? That current coil having some rating. Okay, that can also carry up to this amount of current. Okay, If it is beyond that value, so your current coil may be damaged. Okay. Also, it happens suddenly more voltages appear. Okay, that you know that your resistance of the pressure coil is very high. Okay, that means the current is, that means your cross sectional area is less. Okay, so very little current is flowing through this parallel path, means pressure coil. If suddenly huge load is there, okay, so most of the current will be flow through your current coil. But sometimes what happen, very less current, in normal case less current should flow the pressure coil, but in this exceptional situations, so current coil are able to capable to how much current, so they are carrying, but additional current is coming through your pressure coil. So that you need to see that coil is capable enough to carry that amount of current or not, means pressure coil is able to capable enough to carry such amount of current or not, that you need to cross check. Okay, so rating is important, how much power rating it can be carried. Okay, so if it is beyond it, so automatically your pressure coil burned out and your system will be damaged. Okay, so you have to be very careful about it. Okay, so that's why some problem also occur. Okay, and the protections. Okay, so testing of the energy meters, what are the process? So means normally what happened for the testing purpose. Okay, so energy meters are tested at the following conditions. Okay, number one, at 5% rated current with unity power factor. Okay, 5% of the rated current means if it is 5 ampere, so 5% of 5 ampere means 5 into 5 means 25 whole divided by 100. Okay, so 0.25 ampere. So this is very less amount of current. So you have to check that your potentiometer is working at 5% of your rated current or not. If it is working, then no problem. If it is not working, then you have to means change the potentiometer. Okay, at 100% or 125% of the rated current. Okay, that you are telling about 5 ampere. So 120, 100% means as of 100% it is working or not. Okay, and you need to check also that 125% of the rated current. Okay, means overloaded condition. I am telling about it. Okay, overloaded condition means how much overloaded condition your system is capable enough to carry the current. Okay, that is another important point. Okay, at one intermediate load with unity power factor. Okay, so for unity power factor, how it is work at rated current and 0.5 lagging power factor. That energy meter, that one experiment was there in our basic lab. Okay, so we are also preparing that report that with different power factor value 0.5, 1. Okay, how that means phasor diagram, you are also drawing the phasor diagram and how it will performing, that one experiment was there. Okay, so a rated current, that 0.5 lagging power factor. Then creep test means that overloaded conditions, so how it is behaving. Creep test with the pressure coil supply 110% of the rated voltage. Okay, and braking magnet, how it is means how behaving. Okay, and the current coil is open circuited, that is your creep test. Open circuited, the meter disc should not rotate by more than one revolution, that means it should not creep. Are you getting my point? So braking magnet should be effectively work from the creep test. Okay, so your coil should not be, means your rotating means this should not be rotated. Okay, so that you have to study. Okay, starting test is there 0.5% of the rated current and full rated voltage. The meter disc should start rotating, that minimal amount of current and the voltage your disc should be starting. So these all are the very basic testing constraint of the energy meters. Okay. Now another important terminology is this called phantom loading. Phantom loading means it is fictitious loading. Okay, so practically what happened, let me discuss, then I am telling. Okay, when the current rating, okay, just all of you listen carefully what is I am telling. Okay, when the current rating of the meter under the test is high. Okay, you can listen carefully, that current rating, okay, of the test is high. Okay, with the actual loading arrangement would involve consideration of waste of energy. Okay, means In the testing purpose, you are doing the test in the testing purpose. Testing purpose, what you are doing, you are changing the current rating, you are means minimal current value, maximum current value, that kinds of things you are doing. So now you are doing that current rating, you are making that high. Okay. So this is testing purpose, not the actual purpose. Okay. The testing with actual loading arrangement would involve considerable waste of energy. Means overloaded test, you are doing the overload test, okay, of your energy meter. But actual cases for the testing you are doing, so additional energy will be wasted. That who will pay for it? You have to pay for it as you are the manufacturer. And also it is difficult to arrange. Okay, also it is difficult to arrange for such large load. Large load means huge current under laboratory test conditions. Okay. In such case, to avoid the phantom or the fictitious, okay, phantom or fictitious loading arrangement are done for testing of energy meter. Okay, so how we are providing that, and means phantom loading means fictitious over means high current, how we are providing the system. Okay, phantom loading consists of supplying the shunt magnet pressure coil. Means shunt magnet pressure coil means pressure coil is in a shunted condition. Okay, rated voltage source, you are giving the energy to their rated voltage source. The series magnet means current coil. Okay, series magnet coil means current coil is supplied from separate low voltage supply source. Okay, so you are giving the shunt coil the normal rated voltage value, and that current coil, try to realize the circuit. Okay, current coil you are giving low voltage supply. Okay, it is possible to circulate rated current through the current coil circuit with low voltage source, since impedance are very low. Impedance of the circuit is very low. The energy indicated by the energy meter under phantom loading condition is the same as the energy indications would have been the real load. Okay. I hope all of you are able to understand. Okay, so what we are doing, the current coil circuit with having very low impedance, okay, and low voltage you are giving. Okay, the current circuit is very low, impedance is very low, also low voltage you are giving. So you are getting some of the current over there. Okay, as the same of the energy indications of the real load. With this arrangement, the total energy consumed for the test is comparatively smaller. The total energy required for the test that due to small pressure coil current at rated voltage, small current coil voltage at rated current. Okay, so how you are doing for rated current, how to reach the rated current? You know that current coil impedance is very less. So if you are given minimal nominal voltage across the current coil, so impedance is less, means most of the voltage is converted to the current. Okay, so you are getting, you can reach the rated current over there. For the pressure coil, you have to give the standard voltage. Okay, standard voltage you are giving from the supply, and that current, how much current? Definitely that less amount of current will be there. By that way, you are testing your energy meter in laboratory scale. So that's why it is called phantom loading. You are giving that alternative, sorry, you are giving some alternate arrangement for that loading. Okay, so two very simple numerical problems are there, so all of you try to solve it. Okay, so first I am just going through it, so please note it down, all of you. What is there? What is there? A 230 volt, okay, 230 volt 5 ampere energy meter on full load unity power factor test. Okay, you are doing unity power factor test, 60 revolution in 360 seconds. Okay, so for unity power factor given the 230 volt 5 ampere energy meter. Okay, full load condition also giving unity power factor 60 revolution happen for 360 seconds. If the design speed of the disk is 520 revolution per kilowatt hour. Okay, 520 revolution per kilowatt hour, find the percentage of it. Okay, 360 second it is there. Okay, integrating factor. So Vi cos phi t into 10 to the power minus 3. V is 230, I is 5 ampere, cos phi. So cos phi, how much value? Unity power factor means 1. Okay, and t is 360 second, you are telling. So how much it is? 3600 second means 1 hour. So 360 whole divided by 60 into 60. into 10 to the minus 3. So you are getting 150 10 to the minus 3 kilowatt hour. Energy as recorded by the meter, how much energy is recorded by the meter equal to number of revolutions made. Okay, number of revolutions is 60 revolution by meter constant. Okay, revolution per kilowatt. So 520. So directly you are getting that 115.385 in 10 to the minus 3 kilowatt hour. Okay, so error is how much? You are getting 115. So 115.385 minus 115 whole divided by 115. So 10 to the power minus 3 numerator denominator, it will be cutting each other. You are getting 0.34%. Okay, meter run fast. Okay, so you are getting that how much error is there. Simple problem. Another problem is there, a 230 volt single phase watt hour meter records a constant load 10 ampere for 4 hours and at unity power factor. So it is given 230 volt 10 ampere constant load is there. Okay, 4 hours. If the meter disc rotates, makes 2760 revolution during this period, what is the meter constant in terms of revolution per unit? Okay. Calculate the load power factor if the number of revolution made by the meter is 1104 when recording is 5 ampere at 230 volt for 6 hours. Okay. So what you need to find out, calculate the load power factor. So load power factor you need to calculate. So how much energy consumed? So it is telling that unity power factor. Okay, cos phi value will be 1. So Vi cos phi into T into 10 to the minus 3 kilowatt hour. So 9.2 kilowatt hour you are getting. Meter constant, number of revolution made whole divided by kilowatt hour consumed. So 2700 revolution happened. So divided by 9.2. So how much revolution per kilowatt hour? 300 revolution per kilowatt hour means 300 unit. 1 kilowatt hour means 1 unit. Means how much revolutions? So it is 300 unit more or less. Okay. With the value of the meter constant, there is a 1104 revolution. Meter record energy 1104 whole divided by 300 equals to how much value is there? So 3.68 kilowatt. Okay. So that amount. So energy consumed Vi cos phi into 10 to the minus 3 equal to 230 into 5 into cos phi into 6 into 10 to the minus 3. Okay, 6 hours it is telling 6. That's why 6 hours. Okay, equal to 3.68. From here you are getting that kilowatt hour. So from here easily you will get the cos phi. Cos phi value equal to this value divided by 6 into the 10 to the minus 3 whole divided 230. So cos phi value is coming 0.533. I hope all of you are able to understand that numerical problems. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Any doubt from your end? Is there any other doubt from your end? All of you are able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all of you are able to understand. If you are having any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. So that if you ask me, so I can rediscuss some of the questions. So I hope all of you are making the class note up to date. Okay, class note, homework copy, assignments. Okay, make it up to date. Any means I'll ask for submissions. Okay, before means after completion of that my targeted portions. Okay, so tomorrow there is a class. Okay. Tomorrow I'll start that digital. So my course is almost we are converging. So digital instrumentation will start from next class, means tomorrow class. Okay. So I think only 2-3 portions are pending. Tell me.
Sir, please share the slides.
Yes, I'll share all the pending slides from instrument and from breeze to up to this portion. I'll share it in this group. Okay, we'll get it from here. Okay, I'll share it as soon as possible. I'll share it. Okay, so only some few portions are pending.